What is it, boy?
Something's out there.
He senses danger.
Easy, boy.
The night the power went out, Eleanor Whitmore thought the storm had finally found its way inside her bones. At 71, she had learned the difference between ordinary cold and the kind that settled deep. The sort that made old joints ache and memories stir. The blizzard outside their farmhouse in northern Vermont was the second kind. Snow lashed the windows like handfuls of gravel. The wind shrieked across the open fields, and the world beyond the glass had dissolved into a white blur. Inside, the house felt unusually quiet. The clock on the wall had stopped ticking. Eleanor noticed it at the same moment her husband, Harold, looked up from his chair by the fireplace. "Power's out," he said calmly, as though announcing the time. Before Eleanor could respond, a low sound rolled through the living room. Not thunder, a howl. Rex, their 8-year-old German shepherd, stood near the back door. His head lifted, his body rigid. The sound he made wasn't the playful howl he sometimes offered when sirens passed on the highway miles away. This was deeper, raw, urgent. "Oh, for heaven's sake," Eleanor murmured. "He hates storms." Rex had been a steady presence in their lives since Eleanor retired from teaching and Harold sold his hardware store. They'd adopted him from a rescue after their children moved away. He was loyal, watchful, and usually unflappable, but storms made him restless. Everyone knew that. Harold rose slowly and patted Rex's head. "It's all right, boy. Just the weather." Rex pulled away. He paced the length of the room, nails clicking sharply against the hardwood floor, then stopped abruptly and barked once, loud enough to make Eleanor flinch. "That's new," Harold said. Rex moved toward the hallway that led deeper into the house, then back toward them again, whining, his ears flat, tail stiff. He pressed his nose into Eleanor's leg and pushed, hard, as though trying to move her. "Easy," she said, rubbing his head. His fur felt warmer than usual. Or maybe that was her imagination. The wind howled outside. Snow piled higher against the windows. The house creaked, settling under the weight of winter. Rex barked again. "Boon!" They lit candles and found the emergency lantern Harold kept in the mudroom. The fireplace crackled to life, filling the living room with warmth and the familiar scent of burning oak. Eleanor brewed tea on the gas stove, grateful for the old-fashioned appliances they'd stubbornly kept. Rex refused to lie down. He paced continuously, stopping every few minutes to sniff the air. His nose lifted, his chest expanded, and his whining grew sharper. "Harold," Eleanor said quietly, "does he smell smoke?" Harold frowned. He stood and took a slow breath. "I don't smell anything." Neither did Eleanor, just tea, wood smoke, and candle wax. Rex darted toward the hallway again, barking, then returned and scratched at the front door. "You want out?" Harold asked. The dog didn't move. Instead, he ran back to the hallway, stopping near the door to the basement stairs. He howled again, louder this time, a sound that carried fear in it. Eleanor felt a prickle of unease crawl up her spine. The basement. That's where the old electrical panel was? The backup generator too, ancient, temperamental, and rarely used. "I don't like that," she said. Harold hesitated. "He's probably just worked up." As if in response, Rex lunged forward and barked sharply at Harold's chest, then turned and bolted toward the hallway once more. Rex never barked at Harold. Not like that. The dog planted himself in front of the basement door and let out a low, vibrating growl. Eleanor's heart began to pound. "Harold," she said again, firmer now, "check the basement." Harold sighed, but he nodded. "All right." Just to settle him, he grabbed the lantern and opened the basement door. Warm air rushed up. Not warmth from the furnace. Heat. Then came the smell. Smoke. Thin, bitter, unmistakable. "Good Lord," Harold muttered. Rex barked furiously, backing away, his body coiled like a spring. Harold took one step down the stairs, then another. Smoke curled upward, catching the lantern light in ghostly spirals. And then they heard it. A sharp crack, followed by a dull whoomp. Flames flickered at the bottom of the stairs. "Fire!" Harold shouted. Eleanor's breath caught in her throat. The generator had kicked on automatically when the power went out. Something had gone wrong, an old wire, a leak, a spark. The basement, dry from months of winter air, had become a tinderbox. Rex lunged forward and barked again, this time turning his head toward the front door. Then back to Eleanor, then to Harold. He jumped, grabbed Eleanor's sleeve gently with his teeth and pulled. "Let go," she cried. But Rex didn't bite. He tugged insistently, eyes wild but focused. "He's telling us to go," Harold shouted. Smoke thickened rapidly, rolling up the stairwell. Eleanor's eyes burned, her chest tightened. Harold rushed back up the stairs, slamming the basement door behind him. But smoke already leaked through the seams. "We need to get out," he said. "Now." The phone lines were dead. Cell service was spotty in the storm. Rex raced ahead, barking continuously, stopping only to look back and make sure they were following. Eleanor grabbed her coat, fumbling with the buttons as smoke crept into the living room. The fire hissed and crackled below, growing stronger by the second. They reached the front door. It wouldn't open. Snow had drifted high against it, packed tight by wind. Rex whirled and ran toward the back of the house.
"Back door!"
Eleanor coughed. They followed him through the kitchen where smoke already clung to the ceiling. Rex stood on his hind legs, pawing at the back door, barking furiously. Harold shoved it open with a grunt. Cold air exploded inside, stealing Eleanor's breath, but clearing the smoke from her lungs. Snow swirled into the kitchen like a living thing. Rex leapt outside first, then turned and barked, his body blocking the doorway as if to say, "Move, now." They stepped into the storm. The wind nearly knocked Eleanor off her feet. Harold held her arm tightly as they stumbled away from the house, snow biting at their faces, the night roaring around them. They hadn't gone 20 feet when flames burst through the basement windows. The house groaned, a deep, wounded sound. Eleanor stared, frozen, not from the cold, but from disbelief. Decades of memories were inside those walls. Holidays, birthdays, quiet mornings, late-night talks, gone. Rex stood between them and the burning house, barking continuously, refusing to let them move closer. Minutes later, distant sirens wailed through the storm. Someone, perhaps a neighbor, perhaps fate itself, had seen the glow through the snow and called for help. Firefighters arrived, battling both flame and blizzard, but the house was lost. The Whitmores were not. They spent the night wrapped in blankets in the cab of a fire engine. Rex curled tightly against Eleanor's legs, his body still trembling, his eyes never leaving her face. Eleanor stroked his head again and again, tears freezing on her cheeks. "You knew," she whispered. "You knew before we did." Rex licked her hand once, then rested his head on her knee. In the days that followed, neighbors and volunteers helped the Whitmores find temporary housing. News of the fire spread quickly through the small town. So did the story of the dog. The fire chief confirmed it later. The generator fire had been smoldering long before flames appeared. Carbon monoxide levels had already begun rising. Had they gone to bed? When the power went out, as they usually did, they might never have woken up. But the dog did, the chief said simply. Weeks later, as snow melted and the ruins of the farmhouse stood, blackened against the white fields, Eleanor sat in a small rented cottage, Rex at her feet. She thought about how easily they had dismissed him, how close they'd come to disaster. "We're not as clever as we think we are," she said softly to Harold. Harold nodded, his hand resting on Rex's broad back. "No, sometimes wisdom comes on 4 legs." Rex thumped his tail once, slow and steady. Outside, winter still held the land in its grip. But inside, there was warmth, gratitude, and the quiet understanding that listening, truly listening, can mean the difference between loss and life. And sometimes the warning doesn't come as words. Sometimes it comes as a howl in the dark,